If you have the same spark, heart lead me to victory. Put logic to shame. Human love, it's all I can offer you. Human love, it's all I can offer.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Replicant Report. I have this is a special edition of the Replicant Report. I went from doing these like once a month, twice, like 8 months ago, doing nothing at all. And then I did one last week, or not even last week, a couple of days ago. And I'm doing another one now. But it's because something extraordinary happened yesterday. And I need to tell you the story. I need to share with you what happened, because it was really special. So Sunday night, going to bed, and I'm getting ready for bed, and I'm thinking, I haven't been to Coas Books, which is this amazing bookstore, Coas Books, COAS. Coas Books in Las Cruces. It's about an hour away from my house. I hadn't been there in over a week, maybe week and a half, something like that. And I thought, just for some reason, I just really felt like I want to go. So it was kind of unusual, especially for a Monday, to go on a Monday, right? But I did it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go anyway. So I got up early, did my stuff, got in the car, put gas in the car, drove an hour, went to Coas Books. I go there. They have a massive science fiction section already. It's the most incredible science fiction, vintage sci-fi paperback section I've ever seen in any bookstore ever. So I went through. I actually had probably 5 or 6 books, which is more than I normally get. So it was a pretty good day, and I'm going to show you some of those. Anyway, I always start, for some reason, the way I walk in, I start at the Z's. I start at the end. I work my way up to the A's. So when I get to the A, which is like in another room, on the floor, there's like 4 cardboard boxes full of books. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are these doing here, right? So I jump down there. I go through those books. Maybe I found 1 or 2 things in those 4 boxes. I'm like, oh, somebody must have donated a collection. So anyway, I go to checkout, and I'm standing there going to check out, and I noticed that on the floor, there's like another pile of same kind of white boxes on the floor with science fiction. And so I asked the ladies who were checking things in, hey, are these checked in? Can I go through that? Yeah, sure, go ahead. So now I get on the ground. I go through like 1 box. I found some good stuff. I go through the second box. I found some good stuff. I'm about to start with the 3rd box. And the owner comes by. His name is Mike. Great guy. And he goes, hey, the person that donated all this stuff, they actually donated about 30 boxes of stuff. Do you want me to bring them out here so you can go through all of them? And I said, yes, please. You made my day. So I spent over an hour going through these incredibly amazing, beautiful boxes. I'm going to share with you. This is the most science fiction books I've ever purchased at one time in my life. And by the way, when you see all that I got, you're not going to believe how much I paid for it, because it was super cheap. And I will say also, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I came home with. But at the same time, you need to know, I didn't get all of it. Like, I left behind a whole lot of treasure in those 30-something boxes. Either stuff that I didn't need or didn't want or didn't have a place for it. But like, man, incredible stuff in this box. And multiples of different books. And even multiples of series of books, right? Like a whole set of every book by Ian Fleming, for example, I think at least twice, probably 3 times. And Mickey Spillane and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was incredible. It wasn't just science fiction. But vintage sci-fi or vintage paperbacks. So I'm going to go through the list here and show you. I'm going to start with these I just picked up. I've come across these more than once before, and I passed on them in the past because either, whatever, I just didn't want to own them just to own them, but I guess because of the frenzy that was going through this box, I went ahead and picked them up. This is the Foundation paperback. It's Foundation, Second Foundation, and Foundation and Empire. These are the Avon. It's the Avon set. So in great shape, by the way. They look like they just hit the shelves. So that was cool. And then they also had another set that I also have come across in the past and have also passed on. And that is the C.S. Lewis science fiction series. It's got some schmutz on it. Out of the Silent Planet, Perelandra, and That Hideous Strength. And again, these are all in a series. So that's why I picked them up. These are, who published these? Macmillan. So this is a Macmillan set of those books. Didn't have them, really only buying them to collect them, kind of, for my selection, for my collection. I've read Foundation, the whole trilogy, when I was very young. I have not read C.S. Lewis. One day I might do that. Okay, so let's, I'm going to put this to the side because I know I'm missing something there. Well, here it is. Okay, so these are really cool. I have wanted these for a while. Usually I have passed because they're really pricey. I got these for so cheap. These are The Shadow. These are covers by Jim Steranko. It's also like a really nice thing on the back as well. And here's the other one. This one's got a little bit of a mark on the cover there, right? But still, great covers. And I believe this is Jim Steranko. I think I'm telling you the truth. Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so these are really cool. I mean, this is the only two that they had. They had the guy that, this came from this guy's collection. He had, I think, probably every Doc Savage ever, but only 2 shadows, right? Too bad he didn't collect the shadow. Okay, this is all. Now, a couple of these are duplicates where I have these already, but I couldn't pass it up for, honestly, I got all these books for about 50, 60 cents a piece. So it's insane how little I paid, especially when you see what's coming. Incredible stuff I got for super cheap. I already have a copy of this Marvel Superheroes. It's a great cover by Dave Cockrum. I love that cover. You can see that. Oh my gosh. Such a great cover. So yeah, I already own this. They did it, and this is a novel. It's not a comic book, right? So this is a novelization. There's an Avengers novella by Jim Shooter, a Daredevil novella by Kyle Christopher, an X-Men novella by Mary Jo Duffy, and Lynn Wein doing The Incredible Hulk. So, and the stories aren't bad, actually. When I read them as a kid, I thought they were pretty cool. Again, another double. I already have this, but again, I couldn't pass it up. And that is a very nice copy of Logan's Run, the novelization. Well, it's the novel that the film is based on, right? By the novel by William F. Nolan. Again, I've already got one of these. I actually have the whole trilogy. There's Logan's Run, Logan's World, which is very hard to find, and Logan's Search. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I think there might have been a 4th one at some point, but I think you can only get it from William F. Nolan directly or something. Okay, and then another one that I already had, but again, it's in such great shape, and for 50 cents, I couldn't pass it up. Stanislaw Lem, The Invincible. This is my favorite cover of this book, and probably one of my favorite covers of all the Stanislaw Lem novels. I think Solaris, the first printing paperback of Solaris, is also really good. But yeah, those are cool. Okay. I never had these. This is one of these things where I think every science fiction collector has to have this on their shelf. So this is, again, Dangerous Visions. So this is not Dangerous Visions. This is the sequel, I guess. Harlan Ellison did a second collection of short stories. This is, again, Dangerous Visions Part 1, Volume 1, and again, Dangerous Visions Volume 2. Great shape again. Like, gosh, these things look like they just came off the shelf. Let me see. So volume 1 features stories by, of course, so an introduction by Harlan Ellison. The Word for World is Forest by Ursula Le Guin. Gene Wolfe. Mathams from the Time Closet. Ray Nelson. Ray Bradbury. Christ, Old Student in a New School. Kate Wilhelm, The Funeral. Joanna Russ, When It Changed. Kurt Vonnegut Jr., The Big Space Fuck. That's the title of his story. K.M. O'Donnell, which is Barry Malzberg, if you know, you know. Still Life. Yeah. David Gerald, With a Finger in My Eye. Piers Anthony, In the Barn. So that's volume 1. Did not have that. Very happy to have that. Volume 2. Stories by. Is there a cartoon? There's a Gahan Wilson cartoon. That's really strange. Is that right? No, it's actually something Gahan Wilson wrote. Okay. Let's see, who else? Ben Bova, Dean Koontz, who, by the way, will come up in a minute again. Getting Along by James Blish. Things Lost by Thomas Dish. And James Tiptree Jr.'s The Milk of Paradise, among many others, of course. So that's cool. At some point, I do need to get Dangerous Visions. It's, you know, the first one. But that's a good start. Okay, so 3 Vonnegut's, which I did not have. Player piano, again, really great shape. Look at that. God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. Also, never read this. Great shape. Pretty good shape. Actually, no, there's a little bit of a ding on the spine. And Jailbird, which honestly I don't think I've ever heard of, but also in really good shape. Kurt Vonnegut. I also went there wanting to pick up, because I've never read these, and I've had some of the booktubers that I follow lately have been reviewing some of these stories, some of these novels, and I've never read them before, and I thought, well, okay, I'll give them a chance. So H.G. Wells, Time Machine and War of the Worlds, 2 in 1, as well as The Island of Dr. Moreau, also H.G. Wells. And then these are not vintage, really. Obviously, the reprints. And then here's one that I already own the book, but in a more modern version. But gosh, I always wanted this cover in the vintage one, and they had it. They actually had multiple copies of this book, but this is the only one with this cover, which is the cover that I wanted, and that's Clifford Simak's City, which again, I have not read, but I've heard many good things about this book, that it's very good. Okay, also, some of the booktubers that I follow have raved about Tanith Lee. I've never read Tanith Lee. I'm not into fantasy, and a lot of her stuff is fantasy. So I wanted to at least start by reading some of the science fiction. This one I looked up on eBay, and I think it goes for close to $100. It's apparently rare, and it's in really great shape. Of course, it's the Daw. I love those yellow spines. But yeah, that one's cool. And then also her most famous one, at least to me, her most famous novel that I know by name is Tanith Lee, The Silver Metal Lover, also a Daw yellow spine. It's got like a raised embossed, you probably can't see it, but it's really cool. You know, actual silver, chrome or whatever on the cover. That's cool. I also went there wanting to pick up some books by Ron Goulart, because I don't own anything by Ron Goulart. Ron Goulart has a connection to Philip K. Dick. And a friend of mine told me that this one by him, with a horrible cover, called Flux, is pretty good. Also another Daw, yellow spine, right? And then this one also, which I've seen a lot, and this may be his first novel, I don't really know. But on the back cover, it has a blurb from Philip K. Dick, and also one from Joanna Russ, but After Things Fell Apart. So, you know, Philip K. Dick did not often do these kind of endorsement quotes and blurbs for other people that I know of. This may be the first time I've ever remember seeing it. So that's a pretty big deal. I mean, way to go, Ron. I mean, he passed away, but still pretty cool. Okay, now again, some of the booktubers that I follow, like Matt on Big Book Build, Matt had just done a book haul video like over the weekend that I watched. And in the video, in his book haul video, he pulls out a couple of books and he says, I'm keeping these for myself because these are very rare. They're hard to find and you don't run across these very often. And he had a little story for each one. So I wrote those down. And when I was looking for books, these are books I was looking for. And of course, I found them. This is Starhammer by Christopher Rowley. Again, really great shape, except for the stupid price tag there. But apparently this book and one other by Christopher Rowley, this is the basis for the video game Halo. So all the lore, all the story, everything kind of started here. It came from this book. I don't really care about Halo, but he said it was rare, hard to find, and so I put it on my list. This one also, he said, was very rare. It's called A Day in the Life, and I think he's right because I tried to look this up on eBay, and it doesn't exist. I couldn't find anyone. This is from Harper and Row Publishers. It's a science fiction anthology. I've never heard of this guy, Gardner Dozois. But let's see. It's got stories by Lafferty, Samuel R. Delaney, Driftglass, Robert Silverberg, A Happy Day in 2381, Roger Zelazny, Fritz Lieber, and Cordwainer Smith. So, okay. Pretty cool. Another one that Matt on Book Build had said was also hard to find and really cool. And he had a copy and, in this book haul, he was like, I'm going to save it for myself. So I thought, what the hell? Maybe I should own it too. And what do you know? Not that rare. At Coas Bookstore, they had it on the shelf. So this wasn't in the book. This wasn't in that big box I went through. This was actually just on the shelf. So pretty cool. He also had, Matt had also said in that same video that if you run across any Dean Koontz science fiction novels, to hang on to them because they are also very rare. So I went to look in the horror section. They had a whole wall of Dean Koontz books, and one of them had this little daw yellow spine. And I pulled it out, and there it is. A science fiction, vintage sci-fi by Dean Koontz, who, by the way, I've never read in my life before. But we'll see. Another daw, because I love daw. This was it's a pretty big deal. This is daw number 200, a little number right there. It's number 200. Science fiction reader, very special anthology, edited by Donald Wollheim. It completes a complete novel of an alternate world by Andre Norton, never before published in paperback. What is the name of that novel? Fur Magic. And then it also contains Tanith Lee, Gordon R. Dixon, Lynn Carter, Marion Zimmer Bradley, and Brian Stableford. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now I think we're getting into, well, let me do like one more, and then I'm going to get into the holy cow section, okay? Yes, it gets better. So I have volume 1 of this Science Fiction Hall of Fame. I did not have volume 2, and I figured, what the heck, grab it. It contains stories by Isaac Asimov, of course, James Blish, Rogue Moon by Algis Budrys, which I think is so funny because I picked up Rogue Moon by Algis Budrys. What a name, Algis Budrys. Boy, tongue twister of a name. I wonder if it's the complete story. It might be. This looks to be almost a 100-page short story in this collection. I mean, it's pretty thick. So I might have just double purchased this one, but whatever. I wanted that one. But anyway, it also has E.M. Forster, Frederick Pohl, Clifford Simak, Jack Vance. So and others. Cool. All right, here we go. Now I'm getting into the holy cow. Can't believe they had these. These are all from the boxes, the 30 boxes I went through. Okay. Octavia Butler's Wild Seed. I don't know if Wild Seed was her first. It probably wasn't. So I think this is her second. Kindred, I think, is her first science fiction novel. Wild Seed was the second one. But I have Parable of the Sower. I have not read it yet, but I do want to read that. And then, but finding this Timescape, damn, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. 1980, first printing. That's pretty sweet. Also came across this, and it's super rare in the States to come across anything by this guy, Christopher Priest, who I've just started reading. I read Inverted World, which I think is really Christopher's best book. I just finished reading The Glamour, again, recommended by another booktuber. The Outlaw Bookseller recommended The Glamour. Really, really, in fact, that's probably what got me interested in Christopher Priest, frankly, was the video where he was talking about The Glamour. And I've been hunting for The Glamour, found it, finally just gave up and got it on eBay. And just read that over like about a couple of days ago, finished reading it. And it was amazing. So found a Christopher Priest, which again, I have never found in the wild, a Christopher Priest. Can you see the cover? I mean, are those grapes, or is that someone hiding? I don't know what that is. It's a pretty crazy cover. But this is a collection of short stories. And again, pretty good. Pretty rare. This is a Dell book. So it contains short stories: An Infinite Summer, Whores, Palely Loitering, which, you know what, I think I read that in a fantasy and science fiction magazine when I was a kid. The Negation, and The Watched. So there you go. That is pretty sweet. Couldn't believe I found that. And I'm always looking for anything by Ballard. Ballard is really hard to find also in especially vintage sci-fi. Even his more famous book like Crash, I cannot find Crash anywhere. You can always find Empire of the Sun, because that was his more popular one. There was a movie, right? Blah, blah, blah. Wasn't a big fan of the movie. And that book, of course, is not science fiction anyway. So you can find those, but to find something like this. Now, I would prefer to get something like The Wind from Nowhere, or Cimmerillion Sands, or High Rise, or The Drowned World. Well, no, I have The Drowned World, The Drought. Something like that. But still, this is pretty cool. This says, J.G. Ballard is the brightest new star to shine among today's top writers of science fiction. Only Brian Addis, Theodore Sturgeon, and Arthur B. Clarke. Isn't Arthur C. Clarke? And I think it's Brian Aldiss, A-L-D, not A-D-D. So there's typos on the back of this. This is so funny. A piece of sculpture takes on a life of its own, but it just wouldn't stop growing. Okay, I think this is a collection of short stories. I think so. Yeah, Bilenium, the Insane Ones, Studio 5 The Stars, Gentle Assassin, Build Up, Now Zero, Mobile, Chronopolis. I have a collection of short stories called Chronopolis, so I have that somewhere. Prima, Belladonna, and The Garden of Time. But yeah, pretty cool. And now we get to the holy moly, have to pick these up. Some of these are duplicates, but again, at 50 cents each, could not pass them up. And again, most of these, even though they are duplicates, most of these are in better shape than the ones that I own. So The Ganymede Takeover, Philip K. Dick, and Ray Nelson. Love this cover. I have this exact one already in my collection, but doesn't hurt to have another one. Man in the High Castle. I think I have also this exact one, but in really good shape. I think this may be in better shape than the copy I have of this exact one. So these are doubles. I may end up selling them at some point, or giving them to friends who don't have them or something like that. Now this one, I did not have this cover, and I really like the cover. I think of all of the covers of Man in the High Castle, especially vintage covers, this is my favorite one. I love this cover. The spine is a little munched. It's not so great. But the back cover is great. Front cover is cool. And it's just cool to have that version of the book I didn't have before. I also already have this exact cover of Martian Time Slip. Mine, I think, is actually better condition than this. So this one will probably end up as either being sold to somebody for a little cheaper or gifted to somebody special. And then this one, Deus Array, I have this because I have the Bob Pepper Daw series covers. These incredible series of covers that Bob Pepper did for Philip K. Dick, about five of Philip K. Dick's books, including this one. So I already have this book, but I did not have this cover. And it's a pretty cool cover by Richard Corbin, who is also a very famous artist, and he was in heavy metal and stuff like that. So that's pretty sweet. But we're not done yet. No. I have 4 more books that I came across these. These were all together in one of the, like near the end. I think it was the second to the last box that I went through, and these were all in the second to the last box after 30 boxes, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Okay, so again, some of these are doubles and some of these are ones. Well, no, I think only one of them is technically a double. The other 3 I did not own or did not own this version of it. So again, great condition. Barry Malzberg, The Gamesman. Very good condition. I think the one I have is about the same condition. I think the copy I have is also in really good condition. So I picked up a second copy of this one, which I may end up selling. But it's going for a lot. Go on eBay and look for The Gamesman. Look for this copy of Barry Malzberg on eBay. It ain't cheap, baby. Now, this book I wanted. This was on my list of, like, when I go out to look for books, it's on my list. Or when I'm going on eBay and I'm looking, shopping around kind of like for good deals on books, especially by Barry Malzberg. This is one that I wanted to read. Again, some of the booktubers I follow recently had reviewed this one and said it was really, really good. One of his better ones. So I was looking for this, Barry Malzberg, Tactics of Conquest. It's in pretty good shape. It's a little wear on the spine, but not bad. It's got a good shape, believe it or not, if I hold it straight. So yeah, this is a score. Like, I would have probably ended up paying 12, 15, 20 bucks for this. And I got it for 50 cents. Very cool. Now, this one is also super rare, very hard to find. I can't even believe it was in the wild, as they say, in this box. This is Barry Malzberg. This is the only time that I know of he ever did a novelization. Apparently, this is a really cheesy movie, Phase 4. But his novelization, I've heard, is really good, actually. It's almost like when you read his novelization, you're like, I wish I could have seen that movie, because he made that sound really cool, even though the movie itself wasn't that great. I've never even heard of the movie really until I found out that, this was a movie. But it's Barry Malzberg, and it's cool. And again, pretty good shape. Yep. Sweet. And this is really cool because I love this book, and I already have a version of this. I think this is the first printing. Yeah, this is the first printing in paperback. And it's my favorite Barry Malzberg book. It's Beyond Apollo. And this is the first cover, the first, printing of the paperback version of the book. Back cover's the same. But yeah, good spine, good shape. It's a little wrinkles on the spine, but considering, very cool. So 2 copies of this one, really nice. All right, so that's awesome, right? And I think there's like 3 or 4 more boxes that the owner said he couldn't get to yet. I called this morning, and he said they're going to call me when they do have a chance to get around to them, and I can come look through them. So let's hope. I also received from my friend Zach Wood over on the Phil Dickian website. I had mentioned that I was looking for a couple of things. I was looking into some, I mean, not seriously, but kind of looking at some John Brunner. So they sent me John Brunner and a few other things. So these are old Ace doubles, John Brunner's Repairman of the Cyclops and Enigma from Tantalus. This is John Brunner's Threshold of Eternity and the War of Two Worlds on the other side. So they do these doubles, right? Also a John Brunner, that's not John Brunner, To Conquer Chaos. This is not a double, this is just a novel. And then Listen to the Stars by John Brunner. And that is backed with The Rebelers by Jane Roberts, which I've never heard of. So that was cool. I got a nice little stack of John Brunners. Thank you, Zach. Also sent me Tiger by the Tail and Other Science Fiction Stories by Alan Norse. It's kind of a cool avant-garde, kind of a new, freaky, groovy cover. Incredible feature awaits on Alien Worlds. These are short stories by Brunner, Paul Anderson, Block, Campbell. Oh, Philip K. Dick, Hamilton. I just now noticed that. It's Philip K. Dick. Yeah, Cosmic Poachers by Philip K. Dick. Robert Sheckley's Dawn Invader. Paul Anderson's Last Monster. Robert Block. John Brunner. Clifford Simak. Yep, this is kind of, man, this is old. But very cool. Thank you, Zach. Also, he just threw these things in. He must have doubles of these. Wolfbane by Frederick Pohl and Kornbluth. So I guess they co-wrote this book together. Edmund Hamilton, What's It Like Out There and Other Stories. Pretty cool. And finally, it's a little not in the best shape, but it's Spider Robinson's Telempath, which I've never read anything by Spider Robinson before. But there you go. So, man, there you go. That was just basically in 24 hours. Pretty amazing stuff. So I'm really happy. And I had to do this video because until I did the video, I can't sort of like take this stack of books and distribute them to my various bookshelves and put them in different, I want to put the Ballards together. I want to put the Malsbergs together. I want to put the Philip K. Dick together. I want to create space for some of these other ones that I picked up as well. And then put my doubles to the side. If I ever do decide one day I want to sell those. If you're interested in any of those doubles or really any of these books, let me know. I mean, we can work something out. Some of them I'm not going to sell for any price. But anyway, yeah, that's cool. Just thought I'd share that with you. I thought there was one more thing I was going to say. I don't know. So anyway, I probably won't do another one of these videos unless, of course, I run across another crazy, book haul, or if they call me back, if the owner at Quest Books calls me back and says, "Hey, Keith, I got these books ready," then yeah, I'll probably jump on and do another video if I let you know what I came across. If you live in the New Mexico area, if you live near Las Cruces, El Paso or Las Cruces, and you like vintage science fiction, go ahead and head over there. There's boxes and boxes of stuff, plus their regular selection, which is, as I said, the best I've ever seen in my life. So good. There you go. So I hope you have a great day. I had a great day yesterday. I'm having a great day right now. Great time right now sharing with you my little haul and adding to my collection. And I'll see you next time around. We decided to do one of these videos. I never know when, but we'll see you next time. Take care.